Aloha. Welcome to the Walking in Aloha, Let's Talk Story podcast. We're so glad to have you here. Ekomo mai. Now here's our podcast host and award-winning author, Michelle.
Aloha, everyone, and welcome back to the Walking in Aloha, Let's Talk Story podcast, where we explore how to live our God potential life through the ALOHA Always Framework, affirmations and actions, leadership and love, overcoming obstacles, health and healing, and acute awareness. I'm your host, speaker, author, certified facilitator, and human rights consultant, Michelle Ebalaroza Kawano. And today I have the honor of welcoming Shandra Marie Johnson, a mother, sister, emerging author, and a woman reclaiming the right to tell her story in her own voice. I have not watched the Netflix show, but I wanted to just give Shandra the open floor to define herself to us, not what the media says. Beyond the headlines. I just want us to hear directly from her and who she is. So, Shandra, welcome to the Walking in Aloha, Let's Talk Story podcast. Before we start, can you give our audience a little brief introduction of yourself?
Yes. Thank you, Michelle, for having me. This is absolutely fabulous. So I'll just say myself and Michelle met back in California and at an event. And we were talking beforehand and she said, you were so shy when we first met, and which was very true. I was just coming out of a very controlled, isolated environment. And so learning to talk to outsiders was like, I could appear as shy, but in reality, I just hadn't had experience. So I didn't know who was safe, who wasn't safe, or I didn't even know what to say. So yes, my name is Shandra Marie Johnson. I was born into the FLDS, the Fundamental Latter-day Saint religion. And at age 20, I was in a plural marriage with a man who ended up marrying 20 plus wives, with 10 of them being under the age of 18. So with that came a lot of consequences. Just one second. Gotta help my kid real fast.
No worries. That's the beauty of being a mom. You never stop being a mom. Even when they grow up, I have to tell you that.
It's not, but I'm on a podcast, so I need you to have your best behavior. Thank you. That's my 3-year-old.
So
right.
Sweet.
So to pick up where I left off, I was married at age 20. I was married to a man who had 20 plus wives, who, as life progressed, as time went on, he ended up taking 10 girls who were under the age of 18 years old. And now he is serving 50 plus years in prison. However, that's what happened. What a lot of people don't see is, yes, as Michelle was saying, beyond the headlines, is how myself, as well as many others, we didn't just say, okay, this is what happened and choose to stay the same. We took very deep looks into our lives and said, why did this happen to us? Why do bad things happen to good people? Because we knew we were good people. We knew we were good women. We knew we were kind. We knew we were obedient. We knew we were abiding all the laws of the religion. We just didn't know why there was so much pain and suffering in our life. So that leads me straight to, most of the time when there's pain and suffering in our life, we are allowing someone else to control the narrative of our life. And we are buying into that narrative. And that's what I came out is I was allowing someone else to tell my story and tell me how to live my life. And then I was wondering why I didn't like the way it was being told or the way I was living. And so now I have spent the last 2 years making sure that the pen stays in my hand and that I am writing the story. And it has just got better and better and better. So I'm just so excited to share with the audience and with anyone listening, not only the story, but the power that they have to tell their own story and to take control of their own life.
Yes, definitely. Take back and control your own narrative. That is so good. With the Walking in Aloha, Let's Talk Story podcast, the Aloha, everyone hears Aloha. I was born and raised here in Hawaii, but Aloha has such a bigger meaning to me. I wrote my book and God gave me the 5 steps of Aloha. And I was like in a place where I didn't feel like I could write or share my story because with domestic violence, with abuse, there's a shutting down. And I didn't feel like I could share my story. And the way that I was starting to write it out, it didn't sound like something I wanted to share because it felt like a rehash of all the bad things. And so I was like, I don't want to do this. So I prayed to God and I'm like, Lord, if you need me to write this story, if you want me to share my testimony, you have to help me because I don't know. I don't know. I've never written a book before. And when he said, I gave you everything in Aloha, that opened up so much for me. Not only did I write a book, now I have a podcast. I've been able to help other authors, 11 right now, and I just started, and their books were published in February. But I have now interviewed people all over the world. I know you mentioned that you'll soon to be an international speaker, and I've interviewed people internationally, Saudi Arabia, Africa, in Greece and Laos, and places that I've never been before. But it is so amazing to see how people walk in Aloha in their own way. The first A is affirmations and actions, living intentionally while taking daily action towards God's purpose. All leadership and love, leading ourselves first so that we can serve others well, overcoming obstacles, finding strength through life's challenges. H, health and healing, caring for our whole selves, spirit, mind, body, and the relationships that we have with others. And the last E is acute awareness, living with wisdom, gratitude, discernment, and faith. So that is the one thing that ties all of my guests together. And I love seeing how everyone walks in Aloha in their own way. So let's start. Affirmations and actions. You have shared the message that you don't need to prove, perform, or persuade to be loved. When did you begin to believe that you were already worthy?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I'll just go back to when my oldest sister was arrested. She was allowed out on pretrial from a Utah judge, and then the Arizona judge overruled and put her back into prison. And that was just one of the toughest days of my life because I knew I was praying. I knew I was asking God for help. I knew I was doing everything I could to keep her out. And then she went back in and I was just like, okay, something is clear off. So then I just kind of started my self-development journey, like got really serious about it. I started investing in myself. Well, about 6 months later, I just dove into podcasts, which is so exciting for me to be on podcasts because that's where my journey began. I just dove hard and heavy into podcasts. I came across a podcast of Mel Robbins and Jamie Kern Lima. And she talked about her book, Worthy. And I was like, this is really interesting. And so I ended up buying the book. I never read it from cover to cover. However, I read it halfway through and then I sent it to my sister who was in prison and she read it cover to cover. And then because I was so busy with the kids, she would tell me what she read. So technically I've heard the whole book, but I haven't personally read it cover to cover. Anyways, and I was just like, worthy. Because that's what I was trying so hard to be, was worthy of God's love, worthy enough for him to give me a good life, worthy enough to be free, worthy enough to, have enough financial stability to go after the things I love to do. Anyway, so it kind of started about there. And I literally got a 4x6 whiteboard. I hung it on my bedroom wall and I just wrote, I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy. And it didn't happen overnight. It's been a process. And I still to this day have to remind myself, I am worthy. And I don't have to prove, persuade, or protect, or anything to be worthy. I'm worthy just like I am. I was born worthy.
Yeah.
So it's still a work in progress. But that is one thing I would want to say to anyone listening. You are worthy of everything you desire. Go get it.
Yes, so good. I read worthy, and yes, we are so worthy where sometimes we forget or we allow other people to instill those things that make us not feel so worthy. But it doesn't matter what anyone says, what anyone puts over you or titles they give you or whatever. You are absolutely worthy. So that is so good. What is one meaningful action that helped you begin creating the life that directed your own voice?
The biggest action I made was I got a new community.
Amazing.
Yes,
Love
that's
it.
what it was. And I think that your friends are your future. If you don't like your past, look at your friends, change your friends, and you'll change your future.
That is a good statement. I love that. People forget that, it is the people that you're surrounded by, and that is something that we need to make sure to look at and not just allow anyone and everyone in, because that may not be the best for you or as you're raising your children for your children, right? So you want to be careful of who you allow in. And I love that you say get a new community. You got a new community because as me coming out of the domestic violence situation, I felt so silenced that I didn't want to explore anywhere else or talk to anyone else because like you said already, you just don't know who is safe. But once you do find that there are people that really genuinely care about you and that there is something else, you don't have to stay where you were. It's so, so impactful for your life. So I love that community is what we need. So that was the first A in Aloha, and L is leadership and love. As you reclaim your voice, what does healthy leadership look like to you now? And how are you learning to trust your own discernment?
Yes. So to me, leadership I think that's part of choice. We get to choose who our leader is, and we get lots of options. I like to say if I wouldn't willingly trade places with someone in a particular area, like for instance, if I am looking for health advice, I want to go to someone who I would willingly trade bodies with, And so that's kind of, if I wouldn't willingly trade places with you, why should I take your advice, And also leadership to me is a lot about informed consent. A leader is someone who, before they require you to consent to something, they inform you of pros and cons of, as much as they possibly can. And then they can say, leadership is so huge because it's so easy for someone to come back and just be like, you told me so. And so leadership to me is a lot with informed consent. So you're going to sign a contract. Let's make sure that we understand the things of the contract before we sign it. So leadership is knowing that maybe you have knowledge or power greater than someone else in a certain area and using that very wisely. And then
that is
with love knows no culture. And that is one thing I found out is that in love, there is no separation. In love, there is humanity. In love, there is grace. That in love, there is space for the whole human to bring the whole soul to the table. And I've learned so much about unconditional love through this situation that it's I have a younger sister. She's absolute beautiful woman, but she'll call me and she'll be like, I'm really mad at you. I said, okay, I love all of that. I love all the part of you that's mad at me. I love the part of you that loves me, and I love the part of you that's mad at me, because a lot of us only love the good sides of other people. So
that is true.
It's so much about learning unconditional love and leadership go right hand in hand.
Yeah. I love that you said that if you're going to take advice from someone, it's like, am I willing to trade places with you? Am I willing to step into where you're at? Because if I'm not, then why am I allowing you to lead me? Right?
Yes.
So people should really look at it just like that, where Are you following someone that you wouldn't even trade places with? That's a good question that people should ask themselves. Like, am I following something, or someone that I wouldn't even trade places with? Then think twice about it. So good. Everyone wants the highlight reels. Everyone wants the Instagram highlight life and like only that or love only that. And it's like, no, what you said was, I love all of it. The part that's mad at you and the part that loves you, because it's like, that is who we are as human beings. As a human rights consultant now, I look at all of that like, you know what? We shouldn't. You said love has no culture. Sorry, my voice. That's true. We can't judge people just because of one thing or another. It's like, who are you looking at as a whole, right? As a whole person. Can you love that whole person? Can you look at the person as a whole being, not just the parts, and pick and choose which one you want? It's
Yeah.
like, that is so good. So good. So as a mother, as a sister, how do you lead with love while protecting the worth, identity, and the choices of the people that you care about?
Yeah. So a lot of times being a mom, especially to the daughters of this man who, all over the world is not known for good. And sometime, it's really about planting the seeds early on that other people's actions have nothing to do with our worthiness.
Yes, that is
Just
so
because
good.
someone takes certain actions, it doesn't change our worth or our value. Just because our parents did certain things, it doesn't change what we deserve. And I'm planting that early on in their minds right now. And also, as I protect them, knowing that I can do all I can, but that they are divinely protected, that the universe loves them and looks after them, and that they are so divinely protected. And it's my job to be a role model, do the best I can, and then put my trust in a universe that divinely protects all beings.
So good. So that O in Aloha is overcoming obstacles. When your world was shaken and you found yourself questioning so much of what you had known all your life, what helped you to keep moving forward?
My daughters.
Beautiful. That is so
I
good.
had two daughters looking to me for a role model, and I thought, they don't hear what I say as much as they see who I am. And that was my biggest driving factor.
Yeah. I have to say same thing with my kids, no matter what was happening in the situation or like going through divorce and things like that. I always looked at, what am I doing for my children, right? And praise God, they're all grown now, and I have 8 grandchildren and 9 coming in December. So yes, my daughter is
Wow, that's amazing.
expecting another
Yeah.
boy in December. So when we were talking
That's
earlier and you said looking forward to the birth in December, I was like, you are right. So good, so good. So you have compared freedom with learning to swim in the ocean after being raised in a fishbowl. I know what it's like to swim in the ocean. I live here in Hawaii, and so the ocean is my friend. So when you had that comparison and I saw it on Facebook, I totally understood what you meant. So what did outsiders not understand about that transition, and what helped the ocean become a little less frightening?
the thing that helped the ocean become a little less frightening was when I was told it was not to be feared. Because all my life in the fishbowl, I was told the ocean is scary and everyone in the ocean is bad. And if you go in the ocean, you will be hurt. And if you go in the ocean, there's no way for you to come back to the fishbowl. And so as I met more people who were just like, no, the ocean is freedom. The ocean is choices. The ocean is, and yes, there is scary things in the ocean, but you don't have, if you focus on those scary things, they come to you. But if you focus on the good things and the freedom, that's what you will bring to you. And so it was connecting with another community. It was like I had to leave the fishbowl, go out in the ocean, talk to the fish in the ocean or the people out of the community and say, like, how is this? And they were so happy, you know? They were happy. They were free. They had lots of choices. They were doing fun things. And I was like, I want that. I want to be free like that. And they said, well, come swim in the ocean with us. So now every day I learn more about the ocean. Yeah.
Becoming an international speaker. Can you tell us more about that? Shandra, I think you are off the camera. Seems like you're still online, but I just don't see you. All right. We will wait for Shandra to. It's Shandra, and I keep messing that up my mouth, but let's see. So we'll just wait until she comes back. Looks like maybe her internet cut off or something. We will see. But I just love how she shares and the absolute grace that she has. She may have walked through so many things that was hard, but she walked through them. And now she is on the other side and making an amazing change for her life. So let's see. I'm going to grab my phone and see what is wrong. Let's see what's happening here. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for being patient with us as we go through this technical difficulty. This is live. So as I've told everyone before, life happens and live is live. So it is how it is. Okay. Um, Hi everyone. Thanks for hopping in and let me text her. Okay. Not sure what happened, but yes, like I said before, it is absolutely live. This is live and life happens. So when it does, we just kind of go on and allow that to take its place because we all know. Wait, she's saying she's trying to get on. She said, let her try something. So she's so beautiful. You know, the way that she is like right before we got on, she was saying that, you know, her kids are there and that, you know, she hopes she doesn't get disturbed. And I'm like, you know what? It is all good. It is all good because that is her life. Her children are there. You know, life is the way it is. And I have 4 kids. They're all grown now. I now have 8 grandchildren and 1 more on the way. And I'm like, it's good. Yes, Indrani, this is real life and it is not staged. It is just the way that it is. And, you know, we all have to come across this at one time or another where things don't happen the way that we want them to or the way that we think that they should. And we just have to go with that. And let's see, she's still trying. So I'm going to go over to the Facebook side. If you haven't seen it, okay, waiting for host to let her in. So she is now coming back. Yes. Hello, hello.
Hello. Sorry about that.
Don't be sorry. This is real life. We are, you know.
Yeah, talking real life. It's happening just now.
That is the way it is. And you know, I don't like worry too much about it. It's just, I'm like, as long as the guest is okay with it and they come back on, I'm all good. So perfect. So perfect. All right. So we talked about the ocean and we talked about being raised in the fishbowl. And I totally understand that. Like I said, I've been swimming in the ocean all of my life, but I can see just that analogy in itself, I was like amazed. But earlier you were talking about becoming an international speaker and I was like, yes, you know, I love that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that adventure?
Yeah, so I have been developing my speaking skills. It was one of my goals. It was on my 2026 dream board. But I have this thing of like, tell the universe what you want and then just let it deliver, you know? So last week we were filming and David T. Fagan, which is the producer of this upcoming film, was like, I see some talent in you and you would really serve this trip some good. And I was just like, okay, you know, I was like, yeah, that would be fun. And then one night we were leaving and he turned to me and he said, Shandra, Kenya. And I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, that's how it just came about. It's just like, and yesterday, then like I got confirmation on my flights. I got a lot of more things to get all lined out. But however, to Kenya next month it is.
So good, so good. I have been to Kenya and I just love, okay, so I don't know if you'll have time to go on a safari, but I did that and it is amazing. So that is I think something everyone should see, especially as you described the fishbowl to the ocean. I've always seen animals, giraffe, elephants, in a zoo. Okay. And so that is the fishbowl. But when you are in Kenya, when you are in their environment and they are running free, absolutely running free, you see the entire full gallop of a giraffe and their long legs. It is so amazing. I swear it's like such a blessing to see. And like I mentioned, going from the fishbowl to the ocean, you will see the freedom that is in that. So that is so good. So we are having some connection problems right now. I am so sorry on my end.
Just 1 second.
Okay. So sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I always say, and this has happened before, is that when the message is something that needs to be heard, there's like so many things that can happen. And it's like the enemy is against us trying to get this message out. And I'm like, no, we're going to make this happen. So
Yep.
yeah, that's how I feel. And it's happened before too. And it's always when it is important and there's someone out there waiting and praying for this message and things happen. And so I always press forward when things like this try to tear us back. I'm like, no, I'm pressing forward. You're not going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is so
We're
good.
not going to let technology win our battle this time.
No, not at all. So anyway, yeah, like I was saying, you will see when you see that. It's like exactly going
Yeah.
from the fishbowl to the ocean when you see the animals running free, right? It's like, I cannot describe it. You need to see it for yourself. But so glad that you're able to go and you'll be traveling next month. That is so good.
Yes. Very much.
So what are the kids going to do? Are they going to go with you?
My gosh, that's one thing that no, they're not coming with me. That's one thing I'm going to do right now is figure out some childcare. I have a lot of projects needing to happen and they are doing their kid things and it's like, okay, I need to dial in and make sure they're taken care of. So yeah, there's a lot happening just now.
Yeah, I can imagine. I took a drive because living in Hawaii, you don't realize that you can drive from state to state. So I was totally impressed with that when I moved to the States. And I already had my kids, right? I had 3 of my kids, giving birth to my 4th. And now I'm realizing, my gosh, you can drive from state to state and it's amazing. So I decided that when my son was, how old was he? He was only like 2 or 3 years old. I forgot. He was so little, the youngest one. I said, we can drive to Disneyland, right? So we went ahead and we took a drive down to Disneyland. And I thought, how am I going to run different places with 4 kids? And so I actually hired someone to come with us to Disneyland so she could take the two older ones and do the things that they wanted to, so I could take the two younger ones and keep them on the kiddie rides without forcing the older ones to only do the kiddie rides with us, you know? So I totally understand about having to get things set for your children. And it's like without completely excluding them, but making sure that they're taken care of so you can do what you gotta
Yes.
do. So good.
Mhm.
So good. That's the joy about being a mom. That's just how it is. So the H in Aloha is health and healing. So what does emotional safety feel like to you? And how have trustworthy people supported your healing?
Wow, that question is loaded. It is packed. So one thing that has helped the most is a safe space.
Mhm.
And a safe space where, where you can say what needs to be said, ask lots of questions, and you won't have the repercussion or the judgment and it's a space of unconditional love. And I found out I had to surround myself with those kind of people because there was so many things I needed to talk about. From very simple things I felt like I should already know as a 27-year-old woman, to very intimate things I feel like I should already know as a 27-year-old woman, and to be able to ask all the questions that needed asked so that I could come to peace with what was going on, and also to explore what I like, what feels safe for me, what does safety look like to me? So it was very much, I went through a lot of people, but I just grew out of people so fast because it was just like after it hit a certain point, I just wasn't open to them anymore. And it actually came to a point where I withdrew. I would get a coach or a mentor, and at some point I would withdraw. So finally, then one of them, Zara Mahun, she reached back out to me and she said, "Where are you and what are you doing? How come you don't come back?" And I was like, "Well, I don't want you to see all of me." And she's like, "What part of you are you trying to hide?" Just one second.
And I think Sarah's on with us, so she can hear you.
Yeah, is she watching
Yeah.
live? Yeah, she has sat thousands of hours to answer just question after question after question. I would dare say that she's answered close to 1 million questions, if not 1 million, 500,000. Yeah.
So
So
good.
she sat with us in the dark. She sat with us in the light. She walked with us through our ugly. Hey, baby, can you go lay out there on the floor? Good job. So, yes, she spent thousands of hours with us. And when I say us, is me and my older sister, and just let us just question and question and question and question. We just had so many questions. We were like I said, it was like we were into this new life, like a new baby. But it's like, imagine all the questions a new baby could ask if they could talk,
Yeah.
and that's how it felt. She just sat there and answered questions one after another, after another, after another. And I still find myself with so many questions. So it's getting less, though. But as the questions got answered, I felt safer in the ocean. As the questions got answered, I felt safer with myself. I started to trust myself again. I started to trust the people around me. I started to trust the universe. I started to trust life. And I started to have so much more fun. And now it's just like, I just have so much fun and I just explore so many things that, yeah.
That is so good. You did mention community and changing the community. So yeah, having someone safe to talk to confide in, to answer those questions, to help you out is so, so key. When I was going through the domestic violence and I didn't know how to get out, I knew that it would get more dangerous as I tried to get out and I couldn't let him find out because even my psychologist was saying that is when it becomes the most dangerous, is when they know that they're losing their grip on you. And I was like, oh my gosh, so how do I do this? And she said, find one person, not a handful of people, because you don't know if they're going to say something. If they talk, then it makes it dangerous for you. So find one person. And I found one person that helped me, and she created like a different bank account under her name. I worked for her, and she would put the money in the account, and then I know it's bad to lie, but I would lie, and I would tell him that she's paying me with like lunch, lunch or something, and not tell him the whole truth because I needed to start making my way out. And we would pack those flat rate boxes. I would hide things in my bag, would pack flat rate boxes and send it to my daughter. All of these things were happening, and it wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have that one safe person to depend on, to confide in, and to allow her to do those things where I would have felt like, but if I don't have money, what do I do? Because I was working yet she wasn't giving me the money because whatever money I brought home, he would take anyway. So I didn't want to, but I'm like, how do I do this? I don't know. I don't understand. And so we just worked it through, and she was so good at being so kind, and that's the thing that we forget because we've lived in something that was not kind. So we forget that there's kind people out there, So I'm so glad that you found your person and you're able to ask your million questions too. That is so good. So how has telling your story in your own words helped you to honor the emotions beneath the events, the headlines and everything, and care for your healing as a whole person?
It's been everything. Like, it's also been so big with not only seeing the life you lived, but the decisions you made inside that life that created the results that I got. And I was just like, wow. And being able to hindsight everything and be like, that's what led up to that. That decision led up to that. Or and to just follow everything. It was just like this path. And once I see that, connecting the dots backwards, I'm like, okay, so now I get to be more strategic and have more choice in I can say no, I can say yes, however, I'm the one saying it. I'm the one dealing with it, and I'm the one responsible. So yeah, it's very huge too, but also honoring the girl I was back then. And there's times where I have to go back and give her what she needed so that the now version of me can be at peace in the present. And as I do that more and more, just closing those gaps, I become more and more free, more and more happy, more and more responsible. So it's like closing in those emotional gaps, giving that girl what she needs, and then allowing her to be loved and held, but also to be in the past. It's not who I am now. So it's very important that you honor all parts of you. You honor the person you are now, but you also honor the person you were then.
Yes. That is the key, because it's like, I know for a fact that my message now can go forth and help other people, right? But I had to take care of what happened in the past, because if I couldn't talk about it today, I wouldn't be carrying the message forward. So that is so good that, people hear that you have to do that. You have to honor where you came from in the past, but to leave it in the past, like you said, you're no longer that person. I'm no longer that person. But we can't say that never happened or ignore it, because it did happen. So that is so good. So good. Now, acute awareness. That's the last A in Aloha. How do you hold love for genuine memories while also recognizing and telling the truth about control and harm?
Yeah. So the first thing I would like to say is all love is valid and all pain is valid. And so you can say, I was in labor. I was in a lot of pain, but I birthed the best thing in the world. And that moment of that baby on my chest, it was like so much love. All the pain went away. They were both valid. It's learning to hold them both and hold space for both of them. To not say because there was pain, there was only pain, or because I have to say because there was love, it was only love.
Right.
I'm able to say there was pain and there was love. There was good and there was hurtful things that happened.
Mhm.
And also to, as a parent, to say, do you know what? It was my parents' first time being parents, and to hold space for both of them. And I think that most of us like to put a right or wrong onto something, especially our emotions. And so when it comes to the pain and the love, it's like, is it right or wrong to feel pain? It's like, it's part of human life. So that is the chapter that is being written in the book right now is, was it love?
Mm.
It has been the hardest, longest chapter to write. Because
Yeah.
how do you explain that to someone? I did love him. I'm the mom of 2 of his kids.
Mhm.
I did have special moments with him. And now, did everything that happened, was it good? No, the mass majority wasn't. And it was like, but do I still treasure those memories? Do I still honor and respect and treasure that moment in the delivery room when my first daughter was born, it was like the literal time of my life? I do. He was there. He held me. I held him. And it was just such a beautiful moment together. And I just have to hold space. It's learning to hold space for both of it and learning to give myself what I need now and in the past.
Yeah. That is so good to say, because even for me, I know that there was good times. There was special moments, and you can't deny that it happened. You can't pretend that all of it was bad just because what's coming out now, everyone, and I know that people really like to hear the bad stuff more than the good,
Yes.
right? And it's hard to say, but people do. It's like more attractive to the world that we talk about all the bad
Yeah.
things or whatever. But yeah, you have her, you have your baby. So those kind of things, they do matter. They do matter. And that love that you have, you're going to portray that on them, It's like
Mm-hmm.
if you only
Yep.
carried the bitterness and only took in all of the wrong things and never remembered all of the good things, then they would know it too. And so
Yes.
the way that you live your life now, you're like, no, you can hold space for both. You can know that there was wrong. You can know that the things that happened were wrong, but the love that you share with your children and the love that you share with the world is important. And that's what they're going to see. So that is so good. I love it. So what assumption about you, your family, or women from the FLDS community would you like listeners to release? And what would you like them to see instead?
The biggest assumption that I would say is we're isolated and we're controlled, but we're not stupid. And a lot of people can say isolated, controlled, brainwashed is what we've been called, means stupid. We're not stupid. We're very, very intelligent, dangerously overthinking. I don't know that I know very few women from the community are not overthinkers.
Mhm.
And falling asleep in my lap just now.
That's sweet.
Do you want to go get a pillow? Go get a pillow.
She's like, no, I don't want to leave you.
Yeah, she doesn't want to leave. But yeah, that's the biggest thing is we might be isolated and controlled, but we're not stupid.
Yeah. It's like, that's the worst that you can do is to assume something like that. Like, oh, for me, like, how dumb of you to stay, right? It's
Yeah.
like, no, it's not that. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're not stupid. So that
Yeah.
is so good. So tell us about the real lives of Short Creek Wives, the book. And why
Yeah.
is now the right time for this book?
I think right now is the best time because I think there is so many people who get to see the after effects of stuff, but very few people get to understand. Hey, are you going to sit down on mommy's lap?
She wants to show her
You're
shirt.
in our broad. Do
She's
you
like, I
want to
like
show
my
your
heart on my shirt. I like it
Yeah?
too.
Go get your blanket and come lay on mama's lap. Yeah, go get your blanket. No? All right.
I want to see your pillow.
So,
Can I see your pillow? Okay, go get it. I want to see it. Too cute. She's so cute.
go get it and come lay on my lap. I'm right here. I'm waiting for you. You're okay. Just 1 second. Let me grab her pillow and
no
her
worries.
sheets.
No worries.
All right.
What we do for our babies. And like I said before, your babies are your babies forever, no matter if they are that little or if they're already grown. Because like I said, I am now on 8 grandkids and number 9 on the way. They're still my babies, no matter what. So totally understandable. And, one thing, I took my 2 oldest grandkids on a cruise last year. And if I had the financial means to do it every year to bring, I can't take them all. No, I can't take them all. But if I had the financial means to take my grandkids on trips with me, I would love to. We just went to France, England, Ireland, and Scotland, and I would have loved to have one of my grandkids with me or two, but I just don't have the financial means yet. And I say yet because anything is possible with the Lord. So I trust that it will happen. It will happen. She's so cute. And she did very well with staying quiet and, all of that for so long. So that is so good. I love it. Let's see. Chat. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Right now, for some reason, oh, here it is. I was like, I can't open the chat here. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. And yes, a 20-year-old baby. Totally understand. Yes. And yeah, she is a special part of the story, so that is absolutely right. I was just reading over the chat. So, so good. Did she fall asleep?
She didn't. She's still awake, but yeah.
She'll fall
All
asleep as
good.
soon as you're
Just
done.
keep moving forward, taking it as it
Yeah.
comes. Yeah.
Definitely. So we were talking about the book. Why is now the right time for this book?
Yes. So why right now is the right time? Because I feel like right now there's so many women who are trying to find a way out, who are just seeking to be understood in an everyday life environment.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one thing that was really difficult to do, is to, like, a lot of people tell their story in hindsight. The real lives of Short Creek Wives it's bringing our reader into the everyday life that we lived every day, because a lot of people are saying, you're so stupid. Why couldn't you see that? No, we want you to come and see our everyday life. This was the life we lived. It was our everyday life. We didn't, it didn't cross our mind that it was stupid or that it was bad or that it was harmful, or we didn't love it. We didn't love when people were hurt. However, we want them to understand the thinking pattern of our everyday lives, And so I think that is the goal, is really getting people to understand why what happened, and also bring it from a fantasy into a reality. And that's why we did the real lives of Short Creek Wives.
That is so good. Yeah, because, Hollywood or, media can change so many things, but to hear the truth is always so important, and like you mentioned before, you want to be able to hold that pen and write the narratives of your life, not allow someone else to dictate all of that, and it is more harmful to allow that, because then people start believing something that is not true.
Yes.
And I mentioned that before, even with me. If I didn't speak up to tell people the truth and write my book, nobody would know. They would, assume and believe what was said before me. And I'm like, no, it is too important. Your voice matters. What you went through, your side of the story matters. So yeah, that is so good. So tell us about the filming connection to your story. what are you comfortable sharing about the project?
Yeah, so the film was just like we were looking for a publisher for our book, and we ended up meeting David T. Fagan, who is the owner and operator of a top talent agency. However, he said, I just watched the Netflix documentary, and he said, I think that the women in this story deserve a voice, and I would love to give them that opportunity. So yeah, it's more than just me and Marana in that. You're going to see a lot of the other women. Also, it was done with our consent. The other one wasn't done with our consent. So this one, we signed consent forms. We agreed to be on camera, and we agreed to have our face put out there and to tell our story.
That is so good. And it's like the consent, I don't understand how is it even possible for them to do that without that consent. It's like, how can they do that and portray someone's life and not hold the truth and not have the people who are actually involved consenting?
Yeah. It's difficult to understand. However, once you have not seen the documentary.
Yeah.
Once you see it, if you do, if you don't, it doesn't matter at all. It was very, very, very distressing to have my life put on TV for view of the public without my consent. But yes, it helps you understand why the people who did the documentary did what they did, not the documentary, but the way that they had to do their part to get the law to take action.
I see.
But yeah, it was disturbing to have, your picture and your publicity out there. However, I feel to say all things work together for good.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful that with that mindset, I get to be the author of my own story and the star of my own show.
Yeah, that is so good. Hi there, sweetie. So good. So how would you like listeners to connect with you and follow the book and filming journey and support you in whatever comes next? But you're muted, I think. I can't hear you. I hear nothing. Can you still hear me? Yeah? Okay. Looks like your microphone is still on. I'm just not hearing you. So let's try to see. Okay. Now all of the microphone things is clear on my end. So there, I hear you. I hear something. No, I heard a little noise. No, it's not. All right. So, like I said, it is just, I think, how important the message is that we're running into so many things, but she's coming right back in. Let me see. Is that better?
All right.
Yes, there you are. Yes.
Okay. All right. So we do have a Facebook page called Short Creek Wives, and our goal is to get as much traction as we can on that. If you're following that page, you're going to be the first one to see new updates. Exclusive interviews will also be published there, also along with my personal page. Michelle, can you hear me?
Yes, I totally can hear you.
Okay. Okay, perfect. You just froze on your screen, so I just wanted to make sure. So yeah, my personal page. I also have an Instagram handle that I can drop to you, Michelle.
Okay, and I
I'm
will
on
put that in.
TikTok. So yeah, any of those platforms, you're welcome to follow me. However, if you do follow Short Creek Wives, you will be the first to get access to the platforms.
Mother, can I play with that?
I will talk to you in just a tiny minute.
Can I play with that?
I'll tell you where it is after we're done, okay? Yeah, so that Short Creek Wives one is going to give you exclusive access to, you'll be the first one to get any new interviews, any new information on the book. You will also be included in, we may ask questions like, what is the most curious thing you want to know about, the book or different things like that. You'll be able to be more engaged in the conversation. However, on my personal page, I will engage, but I can't engage with everyone. Yeah. So yeah, I do the best I can.
Great.
And
that is great.
Yeah,
I will put that in the show notes so everyone will get that.
Okay.
And when is the book coming out?
December of 2026, hopefully. If not November, if not the end of November, it will be around the 1st of December. Around the first 2 weeks of December. We don't have an exact release date quite yet. That's the goal.
Okay. And is the film coming out the same time or after?
Yes, we're trying to get them to come out at really close to the same time.
That is going to be great. So good. So good.
Yeah, we're super excited. Like I said, I'm pregnant due in December with a buck and a film.
That is amazing. I just want to say thank you for sharing all of this, sharing your story in your way, because that is so important. But thank you for trusting me with your voice and allowing us to see the mother with your baby right there, sister, author, and the courageous woman beyond the public story. Because your willingness to speak reminds us that even when everything around us is shaken, you can still find trustworthy people, stand for what is right, and choose that next brave step. So to everyone who's listening, your voice is your super. Never forget your voice. You do not have to cross the ocean alone, and you do not have to remain inside of the pond that no longer holds who God is calling you to become. So keep choosing courage. Choose trust, a trustworthy community, healing, and purpose. Shandra, is there anything else you want to tell the audience before we leave today?
Not that I can really think of. It's just keep going forward. My kid again. God can't steer a parked car. So stay moving, stay in motion, stay in action. God cannot steer a parked car.
Yes, amen to that. Everyone, thank you again for joining us here on the Walking in Aloha Let's Talk Story podcast. Thank you, Shandra. Thank you to your little baby that shows the beautiful mom that you are. And everyone, she heard. Until next time and until our next amazing guest. God bless you all and keep walking in aloha. Ahui ho.
Thank you for joining us here on the Walking in Aloha Let's Talk Story podcast. Before leaving, please hit that subscribe button. God's blessings always and ahui ho.
To the world, go and say aloha always every day.